Present progressive.
고 있다.
To be getting.
어지다 소스, howtostudykorean.com.
Below is a list of vocabularies to be used in this lesson. Nouns.
원숭이, monkey 교과목.
Subject in school.
교과서, 텍스트북 소문, 루머 충전기, 차저 청구서, 빌 계산원, 캐시어 계산기, 캘큘레이터 출장.
Business trip.
밥솥 이퀄.
Rice cooker.
소설 이퀄 나블 백과사전 이퀄 엔시클로피디어 전공 이퀄.
Major. In university.
가위 이퀄 시서즈 팀 이퀄 팀 부모님 이퀄 페런트스 피부 이퀄 스킨 군대 이퀄 아미 군인 이퀄 솔저 지도 이퀄 맵 책상 이퀄 데스크 어깨 이퀄 숄더 백화점 이퀄.
Department store.
대학생.
University student.
중학교.
Middle school.
가수 이퀄 싱어 공기 이퀄 레어 새벽 이퀄 돈 퍼브즈 자르다 이퀄.
To cut.
요청하다.
To ask. To request.
궁금하다.
To wonder. Adjectives.
안타깝다.
To be unfortunate.
젖다.
To be wet. Adverbs and other words.
주로.
Mainly. Mostly.
내부, 인 외부, 아우트 저쪽.
In that direction. Present progressive. I am ing.
고 있다.
Attaching.
고 있다.
To the stem of verbs gives it the meaning of I am ing, as in, I am currently doing something. It is called the present progressive because the action is being done in the present, and is currently progressing as time goes on. This grammatical form is very common in Korean. Simply attach.
고 있다.
To a verb stem, as you know.
있다.
Has many usages and meanings in Korean. Sometimes.
있다.
Is a verb, and sometimes it is an adjective, when used as.
고 있다.
As described here.
있다.
Is a verb. For now, this is only important to you when conjugating in the plain form. In the future, there will be other times when this distinction will be important.
나는 음악을 듣고 있어.
I am listening to music.
저의 아버지는 자고 있어요.
My father is sleeping.
여자들은 지금 영화를 보고 있어요.
The girls are watching a movie now.
저는 사과를 자르고 있어요.
I am cutting the apple.
저는 청구서를 지금 내고 있어요.
I am paying the bill now. This same form can be used in the past tense to mean I was ing.
저는 밥을 먹고 있었어요.
I was eating.
학생들은 수업 시간 동안 자고 있었어요.
The students were sleeping during class. You learned previously that.
동안.
Has the meaning of for when placed after an indication of time. 10.
년 동안.
For 10 years. However, when placed after a noun, it has the meaning of during.
방학 동안.
During vacation.
수업 시간 동안.
During class. However, using.
고 있다.
In the past tense is slightly awkward in Korean. It can be used like this, but it is often more natural to use the regular past tense conjugation instead. For example,
저는 밥을 먹고 있었어요.
I was eating.
학생들은 자고 있었어요.
The students were sleeping. In most situations the sentences above could be said in the following way without any real difference in meaning.
저는 밥을 먹었어요.
I ate.
학생들은 잤어요.
The students slept. Nonetheless, if you really want to stress that you were doing something, you can use this form. More examples.
저는 백화점에서 쇼핑했어요.
I shopped at the department store.
대학생은 책상에서 공부를 했어요.
The university student studied at his desk.
저는 백화점에서 쇼핑하고 있었어요.
I was shopping at the department store.
대학생은 책상에서 공부를 하고 있었어요.
The university student was studying at his desk. Tilde.
고 있다.
Can also be conjugated into the future tense. For example,
나는 다음 주에 시험 공부를 하고 있을 거야.
next week, I will be studying for an exam. But, just like with the past tense of this form, the same meaning can be expressed by just using a regular future tense conjugation. Therefore, although the sentence above is correct, the same meaning can be expressed by saying,
저는 다음 주에 시험 공부를 할 거예요.
next week, I will study for an exam. Tilde.
고 있다.
Can usually be used very easily with most verbs. but there are some special situations that we need to talk about before we move on. 1.
살고 있다.
In English, we can say I live in Canada. You could also say I am living in Canada, but to me it sounds more natural to say I live in Canada. In Korean, however,
살고 있다.
is often used when you want to say I live in. For example, both of these are acceptable.
저는 한국에서 살고 있어요.
I live in Korea.
저는 한국에서 살아요.
I live in Korea.
살다.
To live is a little bit strange because you can actually use
에서.
or
에.
to indicate the place that you are living. For example, these are also correct and have the same meaning as the previous examples.
저는 한국에 살고 있어요.
I live in Korea.
저는 한국에 살아요.
I live in Korea. Although they both sound natural to Korean speakers, I've heard that
에서.
is probably the correct one. 2.
알고 있다.
In English, almost every verb can go into the I aming form. For example, I am studying, I am praying, I am listening, I am walking, I am playing. However, one word that we would never say that way is I am knowing. In Korean, however, it is very common to say
알고 있다.
instead of translating this to I am knowing, it needs to be translated to I know, because we would never say I am knowing in English.
나는 그것을 알고 있어.
I know that.
나는 그것을 알아.
I know that. While we are on the subject of
알다.
let's talk about other ways that this word is commonly used. When a person tells you something and you want to say okay, Korean people would use
알다.
in these situations. One common time you would want to say okay or
알다.
in this respect is when responding to a command. I haven't taught you how to give commands yet. You will learn that in lesson 40, but for the moment just accept that.
집에 빨리 와.
Means come home quickly, person 1.
집에 빨리 와.
Come home quickly, person 2.
알았어.
Okay. However, this doesn't need to be used in response to a command. It could just be any piece of new information that you want to say okay to. For example, person 1.
우리는 내일 6시에 출발할 거야.
We will leave at 6 o'clock tomorrow, person 2.
알았어.
Okay. In formal situations, it is possible to use,
알았어요.
but it is also very common to use the future tense formal conjugation of.
알겠습니다.
For example, person 1.
이 일을 내일까지 해야 합니다.
You have to finish this work by tomorrow. You haven't learned the grammar for this sentence yet, so don't worry about the Korean sentence. Focus more on the English sentence, because what I am trying to teach you here is the response to the question in Korean. Person 2.
네, 알겠습니다.
Yes, okay, I got it. 3.
가지고 있다.
A word that you learned in a previous lesson
가지다, 가지다.
is a verb that means to have passes. You also know that you can use
있다.
to state that you have something. For example,
나는 펜이 있다.
I have a pen. Remember that this usage of
있다.
requires that
이가
be added to the object, because
있다.
is actually an adjective in this form when using.
가지다.
However, you would think that you could simply do this.
나는 펜을 가져.
I have a pen, but it is not usually said like this. If you want to say that you have something using,
가지다.
you should say
가지고 있다.
instead of just.
가지다.
For example,
나는 펜을 가지고 있어.
I have a pen, just like how we don't say I am knowing in English. We also wouldn't say I am having. Therefore, when translating
를 가지고 있다.
into English, you need to say I have. If you want to talk about people that you have, you should never use.
가지고 있다.
Instead, you should use just.
있다.
For example,
나는 여자친구가 있어.
I have a girlfriend.
나는 여자친구를 가지고 있어.
This technically means I have a girlfriend, but its meaning is more similar to I possess a girlfriend. If you say something like this in Korean, Korean people will probably understand you, but laugh at your mistake, similar to if somebody told me that they possess a girlfriend in English, using
고 있다.
With position verbs, in the previous lesson, you learned that you cannot add
고,
to position verbs. Examples of these verbs were
앉다,
to sit,
서다,
to stand. Specifically, I said, these position verbs usually act differently than regular verbs, not just in this situation, but in many situations. Tilde
고 있다.
is another situation where these position verbs act differently than regular verbs. First of all, adding
고 있다.
to these verbs can be done. For example,
저는 앉고 있다.
I am sitting, but note that this only means that you are actually in the process of sitting, as in, you are currently bending your knees getting ready to sit. Left double quotation mark
저는 앉고 있다.
is grammatically correct, but you need to ask yourself when you would ever say this. What you want to say is I am in the state of sitting, as in, your butt is on the floor on a chair, etc. If you want to do this, you have to add
있다.
to these verbs instead of.
고 있다.
For example,
나는 앉아 있어.
I'm sitting.
나는 학교 옆에 서 있어.
I'm standing next to the school.
나는 침대에 누워 있어.
I'm lying in bed. In theory, this is the same concept that you used when you added
있다.
to state like words in lesson 14. For example,
컴퓨터가 켜져 있어요.
the computer is in the state of on TV.
가 꺼져 있어요.
The TV is in the state of off.
문이 잠겨 있어요.
The door is in the state of locked. One more time, for good measure.
나는 서고 있다.
This means that you are currently in the process of standing up, which probably wouldn't be said, especially since Korean people have a specific word for getting up.
일어나다. 나는 서 있다.
This means that you are in the state of standing, probably what you want to say in almost every situation. Another common word that this is used with is
살다.
earlier in this lesson, you learned how you can use
고 있다.
with.
살다.
For example,
저는 한국에서 살고 있어요.
I live in Korea, by adding
있다.
to.
살다.
You can create the meaning of in the state of living, as in, the opposite of dead. For example,
그 돼지는 살아 있어요.
that pig is living, alive.
그 소는 살아 있지 않아요.
That cow isn't living, alive. Using
고 있다.
with adjectives you cannot attach
고 있다.
to adjectives. Adjectives, by their nature, are not able to progress as verbs do. This is the same as in English. For example,
저는 행복해요.
I am happy. This is okay.
저는 행복하고 있어요.
I am. Being happy doesn't make any sense. In English, you can say I am getting happy. The next section will teach you how to do that. Adjective plus.
어지다.
Another powerful grammatical form in Korean is adding
어지다.
to the stem of an adjective. This changes the meaning of an adjective from be, adjective, to get become, adjective. For example,
행복하다.
to be happy,
행복해지다.
to get become happy,
춥다.
to be cold,
추워지다.
to get cold,
비싸다.
to be expensive,
비싸지다.
to get expensive,
크다.
to be big,
커지다.
to get become big,
따뜻하다.
to be warm,
따뜻해지다.
to get warm. You can technically use these adjectives in the present tense, but just like with verbs, you only ever really use the present tense conjugation to indicate common truths or to indicate the frequency of something happening. For example, you would rarely ever say, I eat rice, but you might be more inclined to say, I eat rice every day. Same thing here.
날씨가 추워져.
The weather gets cold.
날씨가 매일 밤에 추워져요.
The weather gets cold every night. It is more natural to use these types of words in sentences in the past future tense.
날씨는 주말에 추워졌어.
The weather got cold over the weekend.
기름값은 비싸졌어요.
The price of oil got expensive.
그 사람은 밥을 먹고 나서 행복해졌어요.
That person ate, and then became happy.
우리 강아지는 지난 1년 동안 많이 커졌어요.
Our puppy got a lot bigger in the last year.
저는 군대에 갔고 똑똑해졌어요.
I went to the army and got smart.
대학교 수업은 내년에 어려워질 거예요.
University classes will get difficult next year, when
어지다.
is added to an adjective. The entire construction is a verb. In practice, this is rarely an issue because most times the conjugation of an adjective and a verb is the same. However, there are some conjugation patterns, which you learned about in lessons 5 and 6, that are different depending on if the word is an adjective or verb. For example, when conjugating these using the diary form, it should be conjugated as
날씨가 매일 밤에 추워진다.
the weather gets cold every night, instead of
날씨가 매일 밤에 추워지다.
the weather gets cold every night. Keep this on your mind when you reach lessons 26-30, where I introduce the
는 것.
principle. In those lessons, you will learn about another grammatical principle that is treated differently depending on if it is added to verbs or adjectives. It also allows grammatical principles that otherwise wouldn't be able to be attached to adjectives to be attached to this new verb word. As I mentioned earlier, you cannot attach
고 있다.
to an adjective, however, by attaching
어지다.
to an adjective, you can indicate that something becomes an adjective. It is then possible to attach
고 있다.
to an adjective that has
어지다.
already attached. For example,
저의 여자친구는 예뻐지고 있어요.
my girlfriend is getting pretty.
집값은 비싸지고 있어.
House prices are getting expensive.
피부가 부드러워지고 있어요.
My skin is getting soft. In the previous lesson, you learned that you cannot add
고 싶다.
to an adjective by attaching.
어지다.
You can indicate that something becomes an adjective. It is then possible to attach
고 싶다.
to an adjective as with.
고 있다.
For example,
나는 행복해지고 싶어.
I want to become happy. I want to be happy.
나는 예뻐지고 싶어.
I want to become pretty. I want to be pretty. That's it. For more info, please visit howtostudykorean.com.